So I thought I'd run through with you how I came to choose my hedging. This is going to be quite a specific video, so if you're not looking for hedging, then it might not be for you. But obviously with hedges, you've got kind of two varieties really. You've got the evergreens and the deciduous that are going to drop all the leaves. Now I'm no expert, but with the research I've done and kind of a little bit of experience in and around gardens, I kind of knew what I was after. I wanted something that was going to be able to be clipped quite formal, sort of nice neat hedge, and ideally evergreen, because this is really to provide a screen between us and the main road. So that ruled out things like beech, although I quite like the look of beech, and the leaves do stay on when they go brown. It does mean the leaves do eventually fall off and you've got to sweep them up, or they'll be blowing around the place, and it doesn't give you a completely solid hedge really, not at a small height anyway. And I wanted to stay clear of conifers. We've got conifers everywhere else in the garden, and while the kind of western red cedar type can be kept really neat, when you have one of those die and it kind of just goes brown in the middle, it's really hard to, I quite often see it when I drive past places, and people kind of don't tend to replace that one because it's very hard to just kind of put in a nice square replacement. So that kind of left me with evergreen leafed hedging, so mainly the laurels. There was other things like holly and yew and lots of traditional options, but they're so slow growing and very expensive to buy in, so I had to rule those out, unfortunately. And I like the dark green of some of those kind of plants, like the yew, but it's just, it'll be a decade or two before it's going to look anything decent. So that's kind of how I came to laurels. Now everyone and his dog around here has got laurel hedging, but it's the cherry, the common laurel, and I'm not a fan. It just goes so bushy, or it can go rambling up 20-30 feet really quickly. It's got really big leaves as well, and also they're kind of an apple green, which I wanted a nice dark green. Then I came across Portuguese laurel, and from what I can see, it's like the perfect option. It's an evergreen. It's very, very hardy, even more hardy than standard laurel, but it's got much smaller leaves. It can be kept smaller and neater than the big laurel, and it's still fairly fast growing. It's kind of 8-10 inches a year. So I can't really see the downside to it. It's a little bit more expensive, but of course we got a stonking deal on the hedging, so that wasn't really a restraint for us. So they arrived yesterday. I went to pick them up, and I thought I'd show you one up close just to give you an idea of what it looks like and why, for us at least, it is the perfect contestant for our hedge. Okay, unfortunately we're around the back of the house and there's zero sunlight around here, but hopefully you can make out at least what the leaves look like. I'll get some close-up footage when we're planting as well. But this is it. This is Portuguese laurel. It's got really nice red stems, like maroon plummy colour, and dark small leaves. This is one of the shorter ones. Most of the front of the house we're getting kind of 6-footers, whereas this, when it's in, is going to be about 5 foot. But it's nice and bushy, quite a kind of dense unit, so putting them next to each other, it's quite an instant screen. So it does produce flowers and berries as well, kind of a white, ferny, sort of fluffy flower in June-ish, I think, and then berries as well. But anyway, that's it. That's my short little video on why we came up with this option for the hedging. I'll put a little bit of footage of us planting, although I'll cover that in the main video. I'll put a little, kind of just to give you an idea of what it looks like as a hedge. Now, of course, it's going to take a year or two to kind of mesh together and give a really nice hedge, but a lot more instant than buying the little whips or pot grown and waiting 10 years. I'm just not patient enough for that. And this also is putting a hedge in at the front of a property, certainly here in the UK, is a lot easier than putting a wall or a fence in. And the reason for that is planning only allows you to go up to 1 metre in front of your house for anything like a hedge, or for anything like gates, fence or walling. Whereas hedging, there is no limit. So by getting a kind of 6-foot established hedge at the point of purchase, when you put it in, you're getting quite a decent screen from day one. Of course, there's no harm in going through planning and getting a wall at the front, but it's probably going to end up more expensive. And you know, I just wanted to soften the look of the front of the house, and the best way to do that for us was to get something organic, something green around the front, and not just stick another load of stone on top of that wall. So join us for the planting video, which will follow this, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.